Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round, and it's official. American Horror Story is back after nearly 2 years of hiatus after 1984. This was the season I initially was really looking forward to, and then recently I was a little apprehensive towards, just because I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan of the spin-off American Horror Stories, and I worried that, oh well, if that show's not that great, how's the new season going to be? Fortunately, I was completely wrong in my worries. It got off to a really strong start with 2 episodes, Cape Fear and Pale, which I am going to get a little bit into spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's streaming on Hulu right now. They air on FX Wednesday, and then they're available on Hulu the next day. So right off the bat, I got really strong Stephen King vibes from this. You've got the family of three in the car driving down this long, winding road, to somewhere in New England, and he's a writer. And I just thought, like, is this American Horror Story Stephen King? And it still kind of has those vibes, but I like that it evokes kind of like the feel of Stephen King, but it's not really, directly mimicking any of his own stories. Well, not too much. So we've got to talk about the vampires. Now, this series has done vampires before. They were a major plot point in Hotel. I kind of like the way they do them here better, and I'll tell you why. Our main character, Harry, played by Finn Wittrock, he's someone that I really relate to, as a fellow writer. I get it. I know what it's like to, I self-published 2 novels back in 2015, and I felt like I was on fire. I was on a roll. And, I planned to do another one the year after that, and then the year after that, and then it just kind of didn't happen. I kind of got, I had ideas, but I kind of got stuck on where to go with them. So the idea that, Belle and Evan Peters' character, whose name I'm forgetting, but at this point, all these people I just know by their actor names because, especially the regulars, like Lily Rabe, Evan Peters, Sarah Paulson. How could you forget a name like Tuberculosis Karen? I'll get to her in a minute. So anyway, the idea is really fascinating to me that, as a writer, you could just take this pill and it's like, inspiration in a bottle. Who wouldn't want to take that? And if it's something that you base your career on, if it's something that you base your very identity on, you might be willing to go really far for it. As far as killing people, who I did not really, when I watched this, we only see his face for a split second, the guy that the three of them find on Craigslist and go kill to drink his blood. That guy was played by Daeg Faerch. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Who was young Michael Myers in Rob Zombie's Halloween. I thought that was a cool little deal. I'm like, oh my god, that's young Michael Myers. You only see him for a split second, but he has a very recognizable face, especially if you've seen recent pictures of him. So I'm intrigued by the storyline, especially now that, the whole family's involved. His daughter wanting to get better at violin. So story-wise, I'm intrigued. Sort of style-wise, I think the series is starting to learn from its mistakes of the past. American Horror Story was a show that, on a good day, at its best, it never knew how to be subtle. And I say that as a fan, but, they handled some of the ways that they handled some of their, socio-political messages and ideas, and some of the ways that they handled character arcs and storylines was with the subtlety of like a brick coming through your window. Like it was not known for being quiet and creepy. It was known for being, kind of glamorous, loud, and over the top, which I know is That's Ryan Murphy's forte. I know. But I started to see just a few little things just in these first 2 episodes that make me think that this season's going to be a little different, or at least the first half of it. First of all, I love this town that they're in. So they shot in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Absolutely beautiful. Apparently, it is the northernmost tip of Cape Cod in Massachusetts. And just, I love these like sweeping establishing shots of the town itself. It's made me want to go visit there. But there's a repetitiveness that I didn't realize at first, where it's the same sweeping establishing shot and then the same shot of the fox running. And it's something that if you're not really paying attention, you might not notice, like, no, is that the same shot? And what it does effectively is convey this sense of, almost Groundhog Day-like repetitiveness, like you're trapped there. Like, our main character, Harry, he sold his soul. He's trapped in this town now. And the repetitive, shots just help to create a very subtle sense of surrealism that I haven't seen this show do, like, ever. So it's really cool to see it go in a different direction. Now, I know I'm a little biased. I love anything dark and gloomy and by the sea. The Lighthouse was one of my favorite horror movies of the last 20 years. So just it being set there really kind of pulls me into it. I think that American Horror Story, we've been to Murder House, we've been to the Hotel Quartet. I'm tired of the big, showy, glamorous places. I like these creepy, quiet places. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our cast in this episode. It consists of, we've got several people back. We've got Sarah Paulson back for the first time since Apocalypse. I was going to say Cult, but no, she was in Apocalypse. And so far, I think she's probably my favorite character. Tuberculosis, or TB Karen. First of all, of course they had to name her Karen because, well, internet culture. And secondly, I love the idea that, first of all, where I come from, having someone shout, get the F out of here in the grocery store, that's like a normal occurrence. That, for those of you from the Philly area, that's such a Delco thing. It's so Delco. For those of you who watch Mayor of Easttown, you know what I'm talking about. I'm from there. So, I love that Sarah Paulson is just, she's almost unrecognizable. At first, I'm like, wait, who's that? It was the voice that gave it away, because, she's under a lot of makeup. She's playing someone who's, perpetually homeless, who is, doesn't have her life together and just is very unkempt and all over the place. But I think that in a weird way, she's the most sane person here, because the other people are literally like drinking human blood and killing people. She knows her life's a mess, but character-wise, she doesn't want to be a bloodsucker, and automatically that gives her more integrity than anyone on this show, right? Anyone that we've seen thus far. So I'm really curious to see where they go with this. I'm really curious to see what Macaulay Culkin does. I haven't seen him in anything for years, so it was kind of weird and almost surreal, seeing him on screen. I want to get more into his, kind of ongoing blood supply relationship with Belle. As far as the horror, at this point, I'm pretty desensitized. I know that this series isn't always trying to scare you, but, that is a side effect for normal people. But there was, I have to mention, there was one thing that really did get to me in the second episode, and that's when Harry goes to Dr. Feldman to get his teeth filed into fangs, and it's Billy Lord. So I'm someone who's had a lot of dental work. So any scene involving like a dentist, especially when they use the drill, it just I cringe, and I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like it takes me back to when like I'm sitting in the dentist chair, and that's like the most terrifying experience in the world for me. So I'm glad to know that, this show, as a psychotic desensitized horror fan, this show can still get to me. So I'm curious to see how it plays out. It's moving a little bit faster than these seasons normally do. I think that's because, it's the double feature. They've split the season in two. So this is just Red Tide. And I don't know exactly how many episodes it's going. I know normally they do like anywhere from 11 to 13, I think. So I wonder, is this Red Tide storyline only going to last 6 episodes? And if so, is that why it's moving a bit faster? And again, to its credit, that was something that a lot of times I felt was an issue before, where a season lasted a couple episodes too long, and it just kind of dragged to pad its season-long runtime. But here, it's moving. It's moving at almost the same speed that a movie would move at. So overall, just really impressed with this season premiere. Very excited to see where they go with this. I will be doing another review of episode 3 next week. Tomorrow, I will be doing my review of the new Candyman. And then I will be going to Creature Feature Weekend in Gettysburg, so look for that video early next week. You can check out the website, HalloweenYearRound.com. That's where I do all of my written articles, movie rankings, comparisons, top 10 lists, stuff like that. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe for more horror and Halloween content. This channel is it's on the up and up. I wonder if I took one of those pills, would this channel take off? And then my next question is, where can I get them? As always, until I see you again, stay scared, and every day is Halloween.